Good afternoon, everyone. This is Brooke for Just One Thing. We're really glad you're joining us today. Um, I'm going to begin by talking about how to clone events on Swell. Give me just a second. I'm going to make this full screen. Nope. There we go. Okay, welcome to Just One Thing. We appreciate you joining us for our bi-weekly sessions around features and ideas to help you use Swell even better for your cause. Thank you for joining us today. The topic for today is how to clone events on Swell. Swell is as our users know, we have a feature that we call the clone feature or the event copy button, which is to the right of every event. And we'd love to talk to you today about how to use that button, how to and questions to ask, and how it helps you in using Swell. Obviously, if you ever have any questions about this feature, there is a great deal of information on our help desk. As well, we're just one email away, support@swellfundraising.com. Today, I'm going to talk about when you clone an event, what is copied from the prior year, just to make sure we're really clear on what is coming forward and what you're leaving behind. Two, how this impacts you as an organization. Then third, how to clone. That part's actually the easiest part. The button, it's actually a really easy process. And then a few tips on best practices around cloning and copying events and things we've seen. So let's talk about what is copied or cloned when you hit that button. And again, this button, which I'll show in a subsequent screen, is just a little copy button to the right of the event. Currently, only owners of the account have access to that copy button. So if you're not seeing it, it's because you may not have the access level to see that. So ask your owner, or again, email us if you need to see it, and we can make some adjustments for you. So what is copied forward? First and most importantly, your web address. Whatever web address you start with on Swell is the address, URL, email, the URL and web address for that event in perpetuity, as long as you want it to be that. And that's helpful in a number of ways that I'll get to in a minute. So your URL copies forward all of your images, your branding images that you had the previous year, all of your content from all of the content sections, all of your product settings, your tickets, your sponsors, your tables, the table names, however many tickets, all of that is there, even down to how many were like you initially started with. So if the venue had 500 tickets and you set it to have 500 tickets, that's what you'll have is 500 tickets there. Again, the email customizations and the email editor all come forward as well. This is really helpful if you spent time updating donation receipts and tickets and things like that. There are a few pitfalls here that I'll mention in a minute, but that's a really helpful tool to come forward. All of your custom settings come forward. If you renamed the buttons on the site, any page titles and customizations, even your virtual module settings all come forward with you. And all of your sponsors and sponsor logos in the sponsor scroll come forward with you. So it's quite a bit. And so really all that you're leaving behind are transactions and things that are transaction related. The tickets from the previous event and the data related to the tickets, the data related to the transactions. That is what you're leaving behind. And that's what we'll archive. And so you can automatically see that in your archived event. So how does this impact you and why do we do it this way? This is a unique feature. Most software companies like Swell do not have a clone feature and really require that you close an event, you end an event, it goes away or it may not actually go away. But you end an event and then you start a new event when you're ready to go again. So in our case, it's not quite like that. And so when you clone, the first and foremost reason is it saves you a lot of time. And we love that for you. We know that time is scarce, and so it saves you a lot of time. Secondly, and really, I think the primary driver for the feature is that any materials you create, anything you've printed, any QR codes, anything, any emails you've created for your event, all of those URL links from prior year will still work. So you don't ever accidentally send out a dead link to a prior year event because all of your links are the same. And that's really helpful in, again, saving time and ensuring that you don't make a mistake on accident. The other reason is that donors and guests never reach an old campaign or event on the web. Perhaps you've had that experience of landing on an event or landing on a page, a giving page or something from a nonprofit or an event that's old. And out of date. And that never happens with Swell. They will never come across that archived site. They will you're always current with us, which is nice. This actually dovetails into SEO because you have a seasoned evergreen event site. And so if someone ever Googles your event name, they're going to find it and they're going to find a current site. And it's going to rank pretty high because it's an evergreen site. And so Google and Safari become accustomed to that being the answer to someone's question when they Google the name of your site, the name of your event or campaign, if they were to do that. One that people don't think about is growing content because that content manager and because all of that content comes forward, that content also can drive traffic and it's going to also drive some search engine traffic. So if you have text in your Swell site about your event or about maybe you've got something special or a special guest at your event and their bio is on your site and someone Googles that person, then there's a chance that your content comes up there as well. So all of that content in our content section, your honorees, all of that begins to also create some traffic, particularly if you think about it as a way to create traffic. Um, you also, because it copies forward, always have the opportunity to refine some details. And I would give an example of that being, for example, if you have an event and it's at a location, maybe downtown or something, and you receive 10 of the same questions from all of your ticket guests. Well, now going into the second year, you might think, oh, let me just go ahead and add that information. And maybe one year you didn't put the dress code in the ticket email or the reminder email, and you've got a lot of questions about what's the attire. Well, in the next year, you're like, oh, I'm going to put the attire in this email. So you can learn and refine and add to as you go from year to year, which is helpful. So, and then finally, in that second year, you don't have to, it reduces the search time for all those sponsor logos and all, because I mean, hopefully you have a lot of repeat sponsors. And I even think having those sponsors, if you relaunch your site in time, then it's a helpful tool in recruiting sponsors. So you'll have reduced search time in finding logos and uploading them again. And then you probably won't forget one either, so which is helpful. So let's show you how to clone. I hope this image is very familiar. And so when you log into your Swell dashboard and click on events, then it's going to show all of your active events. There are quite a few here because this is a test account, but it would show all of your active events. The first thing I want to point out is the checkbox show archived events. So if you are looking for an old event or prior year data, click that box and it's going to show all of your archived events since inception with Swell. So if you're looking for one or looking for old data, that's where that is. But if you're in your event dashboard and you're ready to clone an event, you just look to the right and you hit that copy button there to the right-hand side. And when you do, it's going to give you an "Are you sure?" Because we love a little friction in the process. Are you sure? Because when you do this, your old site's going to go away. It's going to archive. So hit yes, clone it. And you're going to clone that site, and it's going to immediately create a new clean copy here. And it's going to say copy in the active event category. So this is your new event right here. When you first do this site is not live online. And so when you click in, you're going to see the setup box prompting you to say, are you ready to publish this site? So it's not immediately published. So if you need to do it really quickly, click in and hit I'm ready so that it's back online really fast. So that's one thing to note there, but it's going to say copy there. And then if you're looking for where your old event went, click on archived events and it's going to show in this light gray, it's going to show all of your archived events. And right here where you can see brewery bounce and you can see today's date, that is the event that I cloned right here. And this is your new event right here. So that's an active event, and these are archived events. Since in this screenshot I clicked the button, so that's how that. And so I'm gonna go to really quickly. I want to go to this in live format because I want to show you a couple things about that process. Here we go. And so when you do this, and I'm going to go to our Brewery Bounce copy event down here. So that's the new event that I cloned, and you'll see it's not ready. It's not live yet, and it's just prompting us to do one gut check here. And so when I look at this event, I'm going to go ahead and mark this as done and publish it so that it's live. But I don't have to do that. I could have waited. But the other thing I really want to point out here is in setup, because we automatically assigned it and gave it the word copy. You'll want to come back and quickly delete that. You don't want copy to accidentally end up in all of your things. So make sure to come and edit the name so that our word copy from Swell isn't in the name of your event at all. So I'm going to hit save there in order to do that. And a few things that I'm going to show in a summary screen in a best practice format is there are a few elements here where you want to do some double checking. And I should have prompted when I was on the dashboard and it showed me that setup, and the thing that it prompted me to check was, have I checked my emails? And I went ahead and marked that as done. But the reason we do that is because in your email editor, every year it's a little bit easy to, like, in your ticket, instead of doing a merge code, what if you had put the actual date here? And so you really want to check your emails for any what I call hard coded information that isn't a merge tag here. So be sure to check some of these emails if you put in, an actual location, actual date, actual times, things that aren't going to automatically update unless it's a merge tag here. So email is an area where sometimes a client can get, a little tripped up, particularly if it's new staff in place and things like that. So we want you to look at your emails. Same with donation receipts. Sometimes these are signed by the executive director and that person has changed, or a board chair or a host committee, something like that. But just look for hard I call it hard coded data in your emails that need to be updated here. So that's an important thing before you launch. But as I mentioned, everything else has come forward. All of the branding, all of your content came forward, all of the products came forward, everything you need to do and everything you're ready. It's all reset here. So if it had 500 tickets, it has 500 available. But one thing I wanted to point out is that often, as an event is happening, you might have made these inactive in order for them not to sell. So you will need to go back and activate any tickets or products that you had deactivated the prior year. Look for amount adjustments and things like that you need to reset. But so this needs probably a little scrub at the moment. So. But with that, you're usually ready to go after you've updated your content and your branding. So let me give you a few tips from a best practice standpoint. Um, Let me get back to here we go. Just a second. Ah, great. And so when do you need us? There is in the system one thing that we actually intend to improve upon one day soon. But reach out to support if you need the following. Reach out to us if you need to move an event from archive to active. Currently, only we can do that for you, moving an event from archive to active. And that applies to if you clone an archived event, it remains archived. And so you may have an event that you did 2 years ago that you didn't do, maybe last year, and you're ready to bring it back. And so you need us to put it into the active category. If you want to clone an event, when you clone an event, it automatically archives it, as I've mentioned. But sometimes you're ready to copy an event, but you still want to leave your current event active. And so you will need our help in doing that, both in making it active and in the final one in changing the URL, because I have a hunch that when people do that, you're looking for two events that are structured similarly, but they probably have different names. So you may want to do that. And then finally, if you want to archive an event that you don't clone. So if your dashboard needs something archived or unarchived, is short, is you need to reach out to us and we'll do that for you. So generally speaking, everything goes very smoothly, but occasionally you want to do something ever so slightly different than clone and archive. So reach out to us anytime you vary from that, and we'll make sure to help you get it right. So a few best practices here. First is don't put a year or date in your domain name because you're going to use that domain for years. So you don't want to. I noticed in my example it said run 2017, and it shouldn't say 2017. So because it's 2024 now, so that's what can happen. So don't do that because that negates the benefit if you do that. So just the name of your event. We do encourage you to use merge tags. Number two, use merge tags in your emails so that you don't accidentally have that data issue that I mentioned when you can. So we do encourage you to move prior year data into another tab. So keep your data, honorees and things like that, and use it again. I'm going to show you a site that's used it really well. And again, just move that content and use all that prior year content to tell your story really well. Relaunch the event site early and it will support your sponsorship process. So that's going to give you screen grabs and a way to show a sponsor to like keep your logo spinning here. So because their logo will be there already. So really it becomes a keep your logo here request. So sometimes that's nice to have in your sponsor package process. Um, and then I mentioned improve. Use the opportunity to edit emails, refine your products, things that might assist you at the door. So if you realize in your subsequent years that you would like to know if someone's a VIP or you would like to know something at the door or have them go to a certain location, you can refine the product so that your volunteers at the door know, oh, hey, Brooke, welcome. Looks like you're an honoree today, and you need to go take pictures with the photographer because you knew in the second year to give me an honoree ticket, so as opposed to a general ticket. So so some things like that that you can refine to make your process even better. So with that, that's the cloning process. All of this is available on the help desk. There's some fantastic help desk articles that outline this very clearly. And again, reach out to us if you need us to make something active that's archived. That's sort of the short version of that. So we look forward to seeing you at our next Just One Thing. In the meantime, good luck with all that you're doing and your fundraising.